Personally, I think it's disgusting and not moral at all. And kind of surprising during my little research what I was able to find out. I know a lot of people been emailing, and thanks for the emails, by the way, and messaging me on Instagram, asking, hey, when are you going to do a video on all this stuff going on with Satan's Choice? Well, I did one, but they were specifically asking about this Bernie Guindon, the father of Harley Guindon, about what I thought about his conviction. So I tried to go about this in a professional manner, putting aside my feelings on it. Like I said, I find it disgusting. And learning what I learned is pretty messed up. And, besides what he did, I'm talking about countries and the governments and their age limits. It was just like, wow, it blew my mind. Like, I didn't even know that some states here in the US allow their, to me, they're kids, man. 18 years old, you're barely an adult, but they allow consensual at 16 years old. And it's just not one or two states. It's a few states that still allow this in 2025. So I went back to 1969 when all this occurred. Now, he has said he didn't do it. There's been books on this where they even back him up that the cops were the ones that framed it. It was a mad old lady that said this happened. The girl was 15 years old. Now, the accusations aside, when I looked it up in Canada in 1969, and I'm actually going to pull this up for you. That way I get it right here. Hey, this was actually from the National Library of Medicine, because I was going all over the place trying to find it. From 1890, and it was just recently until May 1st of 2008, Canada's age of consent was only 14 years old. You're kidding me. 14 years old. I'm glad they changed it, but it's 16 years old now. So that means at the time that this happened, the accusations aside, it was actually legally where they where she could have consented to this. Now, again, you can go into the weeds about the story, all that kind of stuff. But, I took some notes here. Let's pull these up. At Guindon's trial in 1969, the girl testified that she had been held against her will over 3 days at an Ottawa house and been, by 5 men, one of whom was Guindon. On the 15th of May, 1969, he was convicted and sentenced to 5 years in prison. Now, one of the authors wrote that a number of other men would serve as Satan's Choice Nationals and all that good stuff. But he did claim his innocence on this one. And I'll get more into it, because he did claim, and that's what kind of like, okay, wait a second here, that the girl was 18. Well, she was actually legal age at that time. So claiming that she was 18 years old, yeah, that kind of throws a red flag there to me. But Guindon's account was that the girl liked to hang around the Satan's Choice Ottawa clubhouse. And during his visit to Ottawa, she invited him and several other bikers to the house who was associated with the Satan's Choice. And he claimed she had engaged in the group with him and other bikers, and it was the wife of the homeowner who called the police when she arrived. 1969 was, because everybody looks at it through the lens of 2025. 1969 was a way different time, way different thinking than it is today. I would have hoped, though, back then that people would have seen how wrong that this kind of stuff was. That's just my personal opinion. Maybe it's because I'm a father, a grandfather. I just can't see it. You know what I mean? But it was legal. The legal age was 14 years old back then, which I find disgusting. But I went on, before we get into more of it, I went on to look at some of the states in 2025. And there are a lot of 16-year-olds that it, Ohio, North Carolina, New Mexico, New Jersey. They do got the close in age exemption, which, like Indiana, for example, 3 years. So if they're 19, you can, mess around with a 16-year-old. Iowa, it's 4 years, so that would be a 20-year-old with a 16. We got to get these fixed, man. It's not right, if you ask me. Like I said, a kid's brain is barely developed at 18. They still don't know what the hell they want out of life. And to put grown ass people with, in my belief, 16-year-olds, that's just disgusting, man. It really is. But I can't imagine 14 years old. Come on. We'll go into this right now. I believe he was 27 at this time. So he went down for 5 years. One of the things that happened in prison, he refused to go to PC. So even back then, the inmates were like, man, what are you doing? He fought his way in there. He wouldn't go to PC. A lot of people say he was stand up. But we're sitting here looking at the club's aspect of this. So how did the club look at it? Well, he was a national before he went in, and then he became a national when he came out of it. That's what I'm, saying is it was a different outlook from club members back then compared to today, where we cringe at something like this. This was an everyday normal thing to a lot of club members back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and it died down in the 90s. Me personally, I could never freaking mess around with a woman that's 2 years younger than me. That's just the way I am. I like older women. I don't see why grown ass men like in their 40s are dating somebody that's in their 20s. What the heck do you got in common with them? But that's just the way I come and look at it from my point of view. And this is my point of view, but I wanted to put it in, perspective and in context, because a lot of people have been talking about it, but they're talking about it through the 2025 view. A lot of people don't have the knowledge about how this, the club scene was back then. They just go halls, balls for views and clicks and all that kind of stuff. Do I believe that the cops could have set them up? Oh, hell yeah. Back in the 60s, come on. It was bad to be a biker. It was bad to be a biker all the way up into the mid 90s, early 2000s, man. You were a disgusting POS, and nobody liked you. There's been stories about cops beating bikers back then. I know one club member that was murdered out in Milwaukee at a bar by the cops. They just beat him down. One of the reasons why clubs actually got clubhouses is because they got tired of going out and getting harassed by the cops. So could he have been set up? Yes. Could his side of the story be true? Yes. But only he knows. He knows, the victim knows, everything that went down is between them. Uh, it goes on during his time in prison. Garnett Mother McEllen, and Mom Boucher, he actually was with a 16-year-old, and we covered that when it came up. And to find out it was perfectly legal up there. But just because it's legal doesn't mean that it has to happen. And I just couldn't imagine if he had a 16-year-old daughter and he's pulling this kind of stuff, if you know what I mean. So there goes the kitty cat. uh, Now, this Edwards, he was sympathetic to him in a biography, and there are things that are missing that could prove, his innocence. The trial transcripts from it mysteriously, sorry about that, disappeared. Uh, what other we got here, man? I got to get this up here. And it implies that he was framed. So there's a lot of people that out there thinking that he was framed. But again, we don't know any of that kind of stuff. I'm just, people ask me my thoughts on it, and I wanted to give you the information to make your own choice, because that's what we do here. Put all the information out there, you could decide. And I know it's probably with some of their members emailing me what I think. You're wearing the patch, man. I have no freaking nothing into this. I'm not in your club. You got to make the moral decision yourself if you want to do what you're doing. Let's go over a little bit more here. So I looked this up, and he does have a storied history during the 60s and the 70s. Now, you got to remember, my man, Canada is a whole different ball game compared to what we think is normal down here in the US. That was his picture from the 70s. And you got to remember, if his club thought this was true, they either one, didn't care, or two, didn't believe it. Because this guy, after he got out of prison on this conviction, he was still the national P. He still was a part of the club, man, all the way up until they went Hell's Angels. There's a picture of him in when he was 22 years old, but again, I think he was 27 or 28, something like that, when this incident occurred. And even after the incident, he was a boxer in 1971 at the Pan America Games. Pan America, and he would have been on the Olympic team had he not ended up in prison, they said. He never turned pro, but he was a boxer, man. Edwards tells Lynch, let's see here, what's Edwards' name here? It doesn't say. He was actively involved in raising a son, Harley Guindon. He was a pro in womanizing. He'd been married 4 times, lost count of how many children he has. Yeah, that's about back in the 60s. Somewhere between 11 and 16, all but 2 from different women. So anywhere between 11 and 16 kids. Holy cow, dude was busy. But it seems like his autobiographer really liked them, I guess. But that's just some of the things that I came up with, and just to say how flabbergasted I was with the United States. That was unreal when I seen that. And even here in Illinois, man, it's 17 years old. I looked at my old lady. I was like, what the hell is wrong with these people? So I guess my way of looking at it is I think it's disgusting. I don't care if it's legal. You know what? You should have the moral authority to be able to say, no, not happening. It's gross. It shouldn't be that way, but the world's a bad place. So that's just some of my viewpoints. Let me know what you guys and gals think about this. Leave a comment in the comment section. Don't forget to join the members only, baby, and buy that book, baby, over on Amazon, Power and Betrayal.
Join the Insane Throttle Members Only Club on YouTube or Spotify and receive exclusive content. Your membership in the Throttle Club helps keep the show going strong.